You tell yourself you'll start it tomorrow. Then tomorrow comes and you say it again. You always meant to do it, so why do we keep putting things off, even when we know it only makes it worse?
Why do people put things off until later?
Okay, so bro, like here's the thing. Your brain is basically doing this little calculation the whole time, right? And it goes, okay, I could start this task right now, which is going to be like boring and hard and kind of annoying. Or I could just pick up my phone. And honestly, the phone wins every single time because the fun stuff is right there and the payoff for doing the actual task is like way off in the future somewhere. So your brain's totally just going, nah, not worth it right now. The effort feels real and immediate, and the reward feels fake and distant. Not gonna lie, bro, you right now is basically just stealing from future you, and you right now does not care even a little bit. Like, future you is gonna be stressed and exhausted and totally buried, but right now there's snacks and there's the internet, and honestly, that's just way more real in the moment, dude.
Why do people put things off until later?
Okay, so I think about this a lot, actually. Because sometimes not starting is just safer. Like if you don't start, you can't find out that you're already behind, or that you're not as good at it as you thought, or that everyone's going to notice. And I don't know, a lot of tasks are just really unclear, right? Like there's no obvious first step, and the expectations are kind of fuzzy, and that is genuinely scary because you could get it wrong and not even realize until it's too late. So avoidance just kind of keeps all of that at bay. Yeah, but I know that doesn't actually help. It just delays the anxiety rather than dealing with it. But in the moment, it feels like the least risky move because at least it haven't started, you haven't failed yet. I don't know. That probably sounds strange. But that's genuinely what it feels like.
The issue is that many tasks do not have a clearly defined boundary. They are open-ended. They could take 30 minutes. They could take 3 hours. There is no way to know in advance. And that uncertainty is a problem, because if you cannot reliably estimate what a task will cost you in time and energy, you cannot protect the rest of your day from being disrupted. So the logical response is to wait, to hold it at a distance until conditions feel more certain, until there is a proper block of time, until energy levels are more predictable. People call it procrastination, but in many cases, it is an attempt to preserve structure. Later feels more controllable than now, even if later never quite arrives in the form you imagined. It is not about avoiding the task. It is about protecting everything else around it from becoming unpredictable.
Why do people put things off until later?
Here's the real reason, champ. The task is tied to your reputation, your confidence, who you are. So starting it means risking something. You might find out you're behind. You might produce something weak, and you cannot let that happen. So you wait. And here's the thing about waiting. It gives you cover. You did not fail. You ran out of time. That's a completely different story. One you can live with. One that keeps your image intact. I have seen it 100 times. People do not procrastinate because they are lazy. They procrastinate because they are protecting something. Their pride, their status, their story about themselves. Last minute becomes the excuse and the safety net at the same time. Smart, actually. Not ideal, but smart. You understand the difference.
Mate, before anyone starts talking about habits and mindset and all that, can we just check the basics? Because half the time, you're not putting things off because of some deep psychological reason. You're putting them off because you're exhausted. You've not slept properly. You've been stressed for weeks. You've made 100 decisions already today and the tank is empty. When the body's running low, the brain just defaults to whatever costs the least. That's not laziness, little buddy, that's survival. Your body's trying to conserve what it's got left and starting something demanding, something that needs proper focus and mental effort, that genuinely feels heavier when you're depleted. Like trying to lift something with no grip left in your hands. The weight didn't change, you just haven't got enough in you right now. Sort the body out first, mate. That's where I'd start.
Why do people put things off until later?
My child. Most people look at their own delay and decide there is something wrong with them. But delay is not a mystery. It is a response. When a task carries discomfort or uncertainty or the quiet risk of being found wanting, the mind steps back. It reaches for steadiness. It reaches for relief. And when the body is worn down by tiredness or worry, that reaching becomes harder to resist, because beginning something truly does cost more when you have less to give. The difficulty is that waiting rarely makes the task smaller. It often makes it feel larger, heavier, more tangled than before, And so the very thing that offered relief ends up deepening the wait. But understanding that is not nothing, because when we see clearly why we step back, the path forward tends to look a little less steep. Most delays are not a sign of failure, my child. They are simply the shape of a task that has not yet felt safe enough to begin.
If you made it this far, you're gonna want to see what comes next. Hit subscribe so you don't miss our next video, and click the video on screen now to keep learning more. See you in the next video.